Hi, good evening.
I know the answer to this question already. I'm going to ask you when you go into Marks and Spencer and somebody comes up to you, shall we say, it's somebody with a beard, pair of trousers on, saying, I answer to the pronoun she. Will you go along with that?
Me, no. It's weird, isn't it? Because pronouns really are about how you talk about someone when they're not even there. So it's such a peculiar thing. I mean, this chap, David, who is he, him, I mean, I think we knew that by the name David. I think that was a bit of a giveaway that he might actually be a man. It's
Exactly. What's
just so weird.
it's just a bit funny. Some bloke walks out over to you and says, "I like to be referred to as the pronoun he, him." Yeah, well, it's not that controversial, really, is it? But I suppose it's for people who identify as female when perhaps they're not biologically female. What I'm wondering about that, I mean, all the staff seem to say it's marvellous. It's marvellously respectful of the LGBTQ plus community. But I think a lot of particularly older customers might feel kind of under pressure to get this right. And if you don't get it right, you'll be sneered at, probably arrested for a hate crime. Do you see what I mean? Why does Marks and Spencer feel the need to put customers under pressure like this?
I think it's quite ridiculous. A lot of the staff in the Marks and Spencers near me are seemingly postmenopausal women. And there is a thing in society where you do become a little bit invisible as a woman. And now those those women now have to put she, her up. And obviously the customers are older in Marks and Spencers. They got rid of, I think it was 7,000 staff last year. There was an announcement in the Financial Times that they were getting rid of 7,000 staff. I would have thought that was a little more pressing than somebody's pronouns for a high street brand like Marks and Spencer's.
This guy David Park, he's the food PR manager from the Croydon branch. He said it's great that Marks and Spencers is proactively taking these sorts of steps to support and celebrate LGBTQ plus colleagues, but that is to, in my mind, is to presuppose that if they didn't do this, if they didn't give the staff pronoun badges, they would not be supporting the LGBTQ plus community. And I'm not sure that you need to do this to show support.
Yeah, no, I don't either. I think there's something really peculiar going on right across these sort of HR departments. And these individuals, I don't know, David, but I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark. Um, Maybe it would be more fruitful if you need your self esteem boosted rather than compelling people to use whatever pronouns and make you the center of their universe. It might be wise to go and do some voluntary work or actually boost your self esteem and value in other ways. I think it's so it's just right across society, isn't it? People saying, "Oh, this is what I think of myself. Please, will you think of me that way too?" And the sad fact is, most people don't care. And I don't mean about people's identities, I mean about people generally. Most people don't care about how you and I feel about ourselves. They're too busy getting on with their own lives.
I'm just wondering, picturing in my mind, shall we say, a 75-year-old lady, an OAP, in there, because that's the kind of customer that Marks and Spencers does get. They get customers of all ages, of course, but we all know older people love M&S, so they love Marks and Sparks because it's always been there. So, old lady, 75, in there. Somebody, one of the staff, marches over to her and wants to be referred to by the pronoun, that one,
Yeah.
Z-I. How do you think that old lady's going to react? Do you see what I mean? It's going to completely confuse
Yeah.
some people.
I think it's just really unkind and it's very
Yeah.
inconsiderate of those customers, which, let's face it, have been propping up Marks and Spencers for quite some time, even through some of their rather disastrous clothing ranges. And so to say to those people, actually, what's more important is a handful of staff who potentially don't look the sex that they want you to think they are. I just don't know what on earth is going on. Surely you have to center your customers.
Yeah, that was exactly my thought. I mean, if Marks and Spencers want to do this, and it's optional, then I suppose they've got every right to do it. But it does seem to me, as you quite rightly say, Kelly-Jay, that what this company is doing is prioritising the rather fashionable needs and desires of a small number of staff over its millions of customers. They don't seem to be caring about the customers. They care about, 5 or 6 members of staff, which is strange.
It's quite foolish as well because, I mean, I don't know. I don't fancy using Marks and Spencer too much myself, since they said use any changing room you like, and abandoned younger and all female members of their, I was going to say congregation, but all female customers. They decided we no longer deserve the right to have changing rooms and fitting rooms of our own, and anybody can identify into that. So they'd already sort of made themselves unusable for the likes of me and many women. But now to do this to sort of this guy was in food. I mean, are we going to have food that identifies as something else? A vegan sausage is going to be identifying as a carnivorous snack. It's a peculiar, just what, out of all the things they could be doing for their customers, I think this is so far down what I would be doing if I was trying to save Marks and Spencer's from leaving the high street.
Why do so many of these companies and corporations, Kelly-Jay, why are they so obsessed with virtue signalling how woke and inclusive they are? Why do they think that's good for business?
I don't know. So I looked up David Park, and when I put in diversity and inclusion in LinkedIn, my goodness, there is, in every company, there are many people employed with diversity and inclusion. And I guess if you are employed to do that, then you're going to want to earn your salary, and you're going to invent ways that mean that your job is important. And I wonder if it's as simple as that. It's just a financial, for some people, it's a transaction. If they don't create these new strategies and policies in their company, what on earth are they employed for?
And of course, Stonewall are very keen on this. I assume that they've been part of the reason Marks and Spencers have done this. They've said it's great to see an increasing number of businesses offering the option of badges with pronouns for staff. I mean, when did we suddenly develop this obsession with pronouns? I mean, I think it was last week, or was it the week before? It was World Pronoun Day. You don't need World Pronoun Day, do you?
We don't. No, we really don't. It's been quite some time. There's you know how I feel about pronouns. I just refuse to use them.
I do, Kelly-Jay. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So I won't wax lyrical about that again. But when it comes to, I went to a feminist meeting. It must have been about 4 years ago, and I look like this, Kevin. I think I'm pretty much identifiably female. I wear probably far too much makeup, peroxide blonde hair, and somebody asked my pronouns. And quite frankly, I think if you're asking the likes of me what my pronouns are, you might be a little bit dim.
You don't look like somebody who would like to identify as a male, but that's the absurdity of it, isn't it? That in this kind of eggshell woke community we now live in, that if I was to act perfectly politically correctly around someone like you, I would have to say to you, and what pronoun do you prefer? At which point you could say to me, take a wild guess, you idiot, if you see what I mean. It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think my pronouns are no way. It's just, I just don't get it. I really think it's a weird veneer of caring and showing care and concern about people, and it absolutely doesn't mean or translate into caring about people whatsoever. I wonder if it's just a way for companies to virtue signal, which I know is a really fashionable and many and probably overused phrase, but it does feel like they're sort of putting a sticky plaster over maybe some bigger issues.
Yes, and as you said earlier, I think it seems to me slightly unkind to, shall we say, some of the older customers. Not necessarily a lovely thing to do. But great to talk to you, Kelly-Jay, as always. Kelly-Jay Keen there, founder of Standing for Women,